She presses the button, takes a few moments before the incredible asthma attack. She gives herself 2 uppercuts to her face and clutches her cheek.
Can you believe that? Who does that? Well, we know this wife did. Why? To set up her husband. Can you imagine? To set up her husband so he can get arrested. Imagine. Here it is, her husband works double shifts, right? He allows her to wire money home to her family. He showered her with luxury and love. He allowed her to stay home and not have to get a job. Gucci, leather, jewelry, trips, expensive and exotic dinners. And really? All to say, he said to her, honey, I got you. You don't have to worry. I'll do what I've got to do. So you're good. Then one day, he walks into his apartment and it's trashed. And she's standing there waiting with a plan and a lie. She says, you think you're smart talking to lawyers? Watch what I do to you. Next thing he knows, he's in jail. And she's the one who gave herself the bruises. Wow. Wow. That's what I can just say. Wow. Hey, I'm Kingsley Grant, a licensed marriage and family therapist, certified relationship coach, and host of your Build Your Happier Marriage podcast. I have been in this space for over 2 decades working with families and marriages, people like you as a spouse, as a couple, and have seen a lot. But there are sometimes things like this that I haven't seen before in this manner. And I have been married for 40 years myself. So I've been around the block, you would say. I've learned a thing or two, both professionally and personally. And I've heard lots of stories, as you can imagine. But this one takes the cake, whatever that means. So in this video, we're going to break down the shocking story of Faisal. I hope I pronounced his name correctly. The hard-working Australian husband who was duped, arrested, and betrayed by the woman he sacrificed everything for. I will hear some men will say things like, this is a reason why, and they will go on about putting women down and not getting married. And and I could understand why they may say those things, but I'm not one of those who are going to say those things, because you don't see this too often, but it does happen, as you're going to see in this video. We'll talk about what really happened, what wives of high achieving husbands and entrepreneurial husbands need to understand, and how to build a relationship rooted in support, not suspicion. And at the end, I'll share a special invite to the Joyful Marriage Quest, where you'll discover how to reconnect with your hardworking husband and rekindle the love you both want. And can I ask that you hit that subscribe button and the thumbs up button, which does help this channel reach more people like yourself, help it to grow, and I appreciate that. Now, how it started. How did we get here? Let's watch this and see how things unfolded. Let's watch.
She presented herself like she's the perfect girl on the planet.
He met her through an online Muslim dating site and proposed soon after leaving Western Sydney to meet Asma in Morocco. Who officially tied the knot here last year, and Faisal was hardly frugal in making his new bride feel at home.
Faisal met her on a Muslim dating site. We get that. I could go down the a side road and talk about dating site, my thoughts about that, but not in this video. But he traveled to Morocco, married her. She was the one that he felt was the love of his life. He spared no expense. This dude began to work two jobs. I mean, imagine two jobs to provide for his family, his wife. Again, Gucci, leather, fine dining, vacations, money wired to her family. She get to stay home. And that is the reward. This man is the picture of what so many entrepreneurial and high achieving husbands are: hardworking, driven, lawyer providers. Yes, I know it comes with a price, but these things are true and must not be overlooked, must not somehow be dismissed. Because I'm one myself, and I know sometimes I'm gonna be admit that at times I get so driven and so focused on getting this business going that at times, unfortunately, and without with regrets, at times I have somehow in doing that kind of neglecting my wife and not be there emotionally as I should. But I can tell you, we've worked on ways to navigate that, and that's why we're 40 years in. So we must be doing something right, wouldn't you say? So, but I don't want to somehow overlook the fact that many times we as husbands, especially entrepreneurial and high achieving husbands, we do get the raw end of the deal sometimes. And we get the brunt of, like, we don't care, you don't love, how could you, all of those things. And it's not easy, it's hard. But I find that many times we do this, as you can see in this, I believe this husband show love not always with words, but with action, with sacrifice. And all we want, all these men like myself want in return, is to know that we're supported, encouragement, appreciation, respect, and a sign that our efforts matter. Now, most men won't say it, but we feel it when those things are missing. We feel it when those things are missing. We feel hurt. We feel set aside. We feel like we're unappreciated. I cannot tell you how many husbands I've heard with that very same thing. I've said that. Now, here is a wife who conjured up a way that she could take her husband down. When I think of this, I remember I did a video, which you can see right here, about a wife who plotted to hire hire someone to take out her husband, to kill him, and he had to fake his death. He had to fake his death so that he could actually flush her out, so to speak, get out what's going on. And of course, they called her. And when she heard that he was dead because he faked it, she was like elated. And his words were, it's as if she won the lottery. And you can watch this video right here and see for yourself. But it does happen. So the question becomes, what triggered all this? Even though I think there might have been other issues at play. What's your thoughts? I would love to hear your thoughts on that, because I don't think, very rarely does one thing, right? One thing happens for someone to go to this extreme. And I think I've seen so many times the focus is on this one thing, but many times it's not that one thing. It's a build up of many things. Your thoughts, I would love to hear. So let's watch and see what happened. What triggered all of this? How did we get here? Let's watch together.
Said to me that you think you are smart and you are talking to lawyers about me. Now see what I do to you. And she just ran.
When Faisal tried to talk to a lawyer, she flipped the script, as you can see. She staged a crime scene, waited for him, and said, "Watch what I do to you." Now, CCTV footage, as you have seen, catches her imagine punching herself in the face. Are you kidding me? What extreme some people will go. Punching herself in the face, then running to call the police. And just like that, he was arrested and charged. I cannot tell you how many innocent spouses, husbands are out there today and they've lost everything, their home, their children, access to their kids, and all of that, finances ruined financially, all over a setup, a lie, things like this. Now, is that true also about some wives? Yes. But I want to focus today in this video on what is happening here and make this case, because not too many times do we find someone bringing these things up like I am about the husband who works hard, who does his best, and somehow is pushed to the side because society, culture tend to be many times anti-men, anti-husband, anti-fathers, and sadly we see the price, we see the what's happened as a result of that. And again, don't let me get off on that tangent, okay? So while her husband sat in a jail cell, this woman had the audacity, she packed up his things, the things he bought her, and disappeared. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Now, to top it off, the deeper injustice, the system helped her pull off this heist. I can't believe. Let's watch this.
New South Wales police dropped the assault charges but never charged his estranged wife for making a false accusation, an offence which also carries a jail term of up to 7 years.
Can you imagine? Despite the false accusations being exposed, the police never charged her. Never charged her. Why? Because that would have embarrassed the system. They were played, and they could not. But they did not want to expose the fact that they were played. He was falsely accused, humiliated, stripped of his freedom, his dignity, and no one apologized. As a man, as a husband, can I just say this to you, dear wife, just in case you don't realize and know this? This hurts deep because we're taught not to cry, right? Boys don't cry. We've been taught at an early age that as a man, you ought to keep your emotions, not to complain. But men have failings too. We have failings, and despite what you hear otherwise. And when we are betrayed after pouring our lives out for someone, that pain cuts silently but deeply. And I want you to understand this because many times this is overlooked. We don't hear much about this. I mean, you might be thinking that some of this goes both ways, and I would not argue with that. But there are a lot of people talking more in support of wives than husbands. And that's one of the reasons I've come to the place of helping wives realize what they can do differently if they're going to have a longer lasting and joy filled marriage. How can they lean into their husband? How can they rekindle love? And I believe one can make a difference. And that's what I teach. I teach that very idea. And actually, I wrote a book that has to do with that because I believe so much in that. And so I wrote this book, which you may have heard me mention before, The Joyful Wife. And I kind of outline in there some of the things I'm talking about here about how a wife can make a difference. The Joyful Wife, 7 connection skills to better understand your husband, rekindle love, and deepen intimacy. If you're interested in that, you can get a copy of that on Amazon. So, as I mentioned before, um, what tends to happen is most entrepreneurial husbands, right, um, tend to get this idea that you don't care, as I mentioned before, you don't love, right? But I think it's important for you as a wife to know this. Here's the truth. Most husbands who are like myself, entrepreneurial or high achieving, are not trying to avoid you. What they're trying to do is provide, not avoid, provide for you, provide for the family. They don't always say it right the way they go about doing it. They don't always show up emotionally, but in their minds, that business that they're working on, that hustle, those long hours, that's how they're showing that they love you and want to provide for you and for you to enjoy the things they have in their hearts. And they want financial stability so they can, in their minds, spend more time with you. And I know I'm not saying it's right, but that is generally what's happening. They want to be your hero, they want to be appreciated. And if you want to draw your man closer by this, let me just whisper to you, thank him for working so hard for the family. You could say, honey, thank you for working so hard for us. Here's another thing you could say, I believe in you. Or maybe you could say, how can I support you or pray for you this week? Try that. Don't let him know that I told you. But it's one of those ways that your husband can really feel encouraged and inspired to keep on going. Those simple words can reignite love like nothing else. This woman weaponized his love. You can water it, nurture it, and watch it grow and not be like a woman this way. Now, as I watch the story, as you're watching the story, it's tragic, right? It's tragic. Would you agree? Again, I'd love to hear you. Would you agree with me by putting that in the comment section? Would you agree that this is tragic? But it teaches us something powerful. And here's what it teaches us, and I believe this with all my heart, that embracing the mind of Christ is the fastest and most impactful way to build a joyful, lasting marriage. Because Christ-like love doesn't manipulate, it sacrifices, it heals, it lifts, it encourages, it is there when nothing else is. And when both husband and wife live with that mindset, no scheme, no stress, no betrayal can break them. Can it hurt them? Yes. But they find a way to really hold on because they're holding on to their belief because of the mind of Christ. So, what kind of marriage are you building? One where love is real, or just one that looks good on paper? Let this story be a wake up call. Let it be a wake up call. I want to say special thanks to A Current Affair for their coverage of this story so I could share this with you. Now, if you want to know how to connect or to reconnect with your hardworking husband without feeling like you're the only one trying, I want to encourage you to get on the wait list for the Joyful Marriage Quest, a 6-week biblical evidence based coaching journey that I'll take you on. And if you're interested in being on the wait list, go to buildyourhappiermarriage.com/waitlist. Buildyourhappiermarriage.com/waitlist. This is where wives like you learn how to bring emotional intimacy back into your marriage, even if your husband seems distant right now. So I'd love for you to drop a comment and tell me what's your take on this story. Could this happen to anyone? Do you know of anyone this has happened to or something similar? I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to hear through your comments. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more real, faith-filled marriage wisdom. And if you like this video, if it really speaks to something, and whether you like it or not, I would just encourage you to watch this video right here, because this one right here, I believe, will again reinforce some of what you've heard in this video. With that said, my friend, thank you for taking the time to watch and share and subscribe and hit that thumbs up button. Thank you. And God bless you and keep you. Make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. May your marriage experience all that God intended and that you desire for your marriage. God bless. I'll see you on the next video.